Today we're going to be talking about what makes a great deep ball for a quarterback and how you can improve your deep ball mechanics. Now today we're going to be talking about the exact steps needed to throw a perfect deep pass. I'm going to show an actual example of myself throwing a deep pass, putting all this together at the end of the video, but the first step that we're going to talk about is going to be your base. So when you're dropping back into a pass, let's say I'm throwing a fade over here to the left, the most important thing is that I get about 60 to 65% of my body weight onto my back leg. And we're going to talk about why as this video progresses. It all ties in together. So let's say I'm throwing a fade to the left, I drop back, I take a 3-step drop. When I hitch up, you guys, I got to make sure that I get my head, my knee, and my foot stacked on top of each other. That is the magic position. Head, knee, and foot are stacked right on top of each other because that keeps my shin straight. That helps my weight stay back so I can ultimately take that weight and transfer through for power, but it also ties into the other elements of a deep ball that we're going to get into next. Now, step 2 to throwing a perfect deep ball is going to be the shoulder arc. So obviously if I'm trying to throw a fade ball, let's say I'm trying to throw it 40, 45 yards to the left, I'm not going to throw that thing on a dart on a line. Not many people could make that type of throw, especially if you're a high school quarterback or a middle school youth quarterback. You obviously got to put some air on this ball and let your receiver go run it down. And the shoulder arc will help you put air on the ball, but it also helps you throw it further because that energy that you're creating, right? Because as a quarterback, my power comes from my back leg, my hips, and my core rotating through. If I have my shoulder arced, which I do in this case, all that energy goes up and that will help that ball ultimately go further. Now, you cannot arc your shoulders if you do not have that perfect weight distribution that we talked about. A lot of quarterbacks, they struggle. They'll go back, they'll take a 3-step drop, they get to the top of their drop, they go to hitch into the throw because the hitch is how we get power. We're going to talk about that later in this video, but they'll hitch up to throw and they leave a lot of their body weight onto their front side. Their head is not stacked with their back knee and their foot. So their back knee and their foot trails behind. Think about it. How hard is that to arc your shoulders? It's almost awkward. You physically can't do it. So guys almost shot put the ball. The nose never turns over because they don't have that clean arc of their shoulders. So when you guys go back and you take this hitch and we get to that 65, 70% head, knee, and foot stack, that makes it easy to arc my shoulder. I could drive this thing up and over and actually get some more distance on this deep pass. Now, if you're a quarterback and you would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches this offseason, you guys, check out that very first link in the description below. We are coming out to 9 different states for the remainder of this offseason for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver camps. Next up, we're going to be coming out to Nashville, Tennessee. Then we'll be heading out to Chicago, Illinois, Buffalo, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Houston, Texas, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Detroit, Michigan, Boise, Idaho, and finishing off our tour in Los Angeles, California. So guys, if you're local to one of those cities and would like to train with myself and my staff for 2 whole days, fellas, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have you there. Let's get back to this video. Now, this next element of throwing a perfect deep pass is going to be the hitch on a throw. So I'm going to show you guys, this will make a little bit more sense when I show this deep pass full speed at the end of this video. But when we take this hitch up on a throw, let's say I'm throwing to the left again, I take a 3-step drop. It is very, very important that you are replacing your feet. That's the phrase that I like to use to help us get my weight back to that 60, 65% that we talked about, so I can arc my shoulder and get more distance up and over on this throw, but also to throw the ball higher. When it comes down to a deep ball, guys, you want to get this thing up early. You are throwing it to a spot and let that receiver go run it down. So I need air to be able to do that. But if I don't have weight onto my back leg and I don't rock my weight back and replace my feet on my hitch, I'm not going to be able to do any of that. So let's say I take a 3-step drop. 1, 2, 3, I plan on hitching up. My weight, this is the only time my weight can be on my front foot at the top of this drop, when I am hitching, right? So you're going to take my right foot and replace it with the left foot if you're a right-handed quarterback. If you're a lefty, obviously it's the opposite. But what you do is you replace the feet. That is when your weight shifts back, your head gets stacked with your knee and your foot, you arc that shoulder, and then we drive this thing and go. So like I said, when I show this full speed at the end, you're going to see what I mean, full deal. Now, the final element of a perfect deep pass, and then we're going to show this deep pass full speed, full go, is going to be the wrist flick. So guys, think of it like you're shooting a basketball, for example. If I'm shooting a free throw, right, am I releasing the ball here? Am I straight out? No, I'm snapping this thing at the top and letting my wrist just fall and hang. That is essentially what you want to do on a deep pass, but you cannot have that proper wrist flick if you don't have step 1, 2, 3, and 4 of our deep ball mechanics that we discussed, right? So let's say, for example, I take a 3-step drop, 1, 2, 3. I'm at the top of my drop, my weight's forward, so what do I have to do? I got to replace my feet, number 1, to hitch up. Weight's got to get back. Head, knee, and foot are stacked, 65, 70% on my back leg. What do I got to do with my shoulders? I got to arc, so when I go decide to throw, now now I could snap my release up top. Think of it like you see these trees standing behind me. You're trying to have your wrist snap above the trees. That's how we get proper air on the ball. That's how we let that thing drop up and over and let my receiver go run it down. But you cannot have that proper wrist flick if my shoulders are level and I try to snap up here, I'm pushing the ball. If my weight's forward, I'm pushing the ball. You need to have your weight back, head, knee, and foot stacked, and those shoulders arched to accomplish this. So now we're gonna show this deep ball full speed.